This is Starting Point, a podcast that tracks Guyana's unprecedented growth from all vantage points. Join your hosts, Kiana Wilberg and Fariza Hanif, as they dive deep into the heart of topical issues.
Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Starting Point. Today's a very special episode as I'm joined by two distinguished gentlemen. I have Akeem Green, who will be my guest host today. Akeem is a journalist attached to the newsroom, and he and I will be talking to someone who is no stranger to the nation, a former national cricketer, now businessman turned politician, Mr. Stephen Jacobs. Stephen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Fariz, and thank you, Akeem, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're very honored to have you. Stephen, I want to get straight into the discussion.
Yes.
Many people know you from on the field and the cricketing world. Some know you in business, and now you're in politics. But we really want to dig deep into who really is Stephen Anthony Jacobs.
Well, I mean, Stephen Anthony Jacobs is somebody who's very focused, who's very family oriented, and who loves to help people in the capacity I am today as a counselor and also as a businessman. I see service to people and service to the nation as very, very important. So, and many of you and everybody would know that sports, is very, very close to my heart. Because if I'm honest, I wouldn't be sitting here today if
Right.
it wasn't for sports and cricket. So I'm very humble, and I just want to see Guyana grow and develop and become something that, our future generations can inherit.
And growing up, what really did you want to do? Because where did you grow up?
So I
As
grew up.
well.
I grew up in Pike Street, Kitty. I grew up. When I say, I would say on the streets, but when I say on the streets, meaning that I would go out and play. At that time, the tablets and the laptops and all of these distractions weren't there. So I grew up playing a lot of sports in the streets in Kitty. Grew up from a very humble background. But from a very, very early age, I started to play cricket. From the age of 12 in primary school, I attended Stella Maris Primary School. I started to play cricket. I went to St. Joseph High School there, also played cricket there, then on to St. Stanislaus. And the rest is history in terms of my sporting career and academics. But, I'm just mainly focused right now in building business, family, and helping as much people as I can.
Yeah, I know we're certainly gonna get to the aspect of your life, but before I put you on the back foot, probably could you remember how many windows you probably broke on a concrete strip in Pike Street?
Yes, actually, that's good, Akeem. So while playing in Kitty, I was the youngest.
Mhm.
So I would have the big guys, people, the elders from the community will come out. People will watch from through their windows when I go to bat. I broke a few windows, yes. I also damaged a few cars.
Oh wow.
But I mean, they love seeing it because they love that we were playing and not doing anything that that will harm them and also harm us as youngsters. So it was beautiful at that time. Yeah.
You look at your life in sport. You came through the ranks, as you just highlighted, from playing for Guyana youth level, West Indies under 19 as well, and then into the senior team. Probably you should have gone one more, but that's
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
a next discussion the next day.
Yeah.
But you look at it, could you reflect on probably some shortcomings that you have had at that point in time, and now being on the outskirts, you see them improving?
When you look at shortcomings, I would look at shortcomings within the system. So what you have now is legal stability. When I was playing, you had a time where you had elections that were deemed elections for boards, and this is mainly Guyana Cricket Board, that was deemed unfair. And then the Cricket Administration Act came into play, and you saw some stability there. What you're also seeing here now is wholesale transformation. You're talking about community grounds here that are being developed with lighting facilities, resurfacing, pavilions, washrooms, and so forth. That will encourage sports. Once you have the facilities and the infrastructure to encourage, then you also see massive injections. You see the Palmyra Stadium coming on the street. You see Anna Regina, you see Mackenzie, And then recently, something that I read is that His Excellency met with different sports and discipline and spoke of high performance centers right across Guyana. I think that'll be a game changer. But you also see an opportunity for youngsters and people to earn lucrative packages in sports. You look at the Shepherds, you look at the Hetty Myers, the Chemo Pauls, and all of these cricketers. My first class game at the age of 17, yes, at the age of 17, because I actually played for the senior team before I played for under 19, Guyana. The match fee was somewhere about $250 US. Now you have $1 million contracts. So it provides an opportunity for persons to dedicate themselves and their lives to that particular sport and earn, not just for that short period, but for the entire life. Once they have the necessary mentorship, good people around them who would help them to navigate and also invest in sustaining their livelihoods. So you're seeing changes. And I would also like to touch on the CPL because that is a change.
Mhm.
You see, the first time His Excellency announced that CPL will be here for a number of years, you saw different views, people critiquing the position that he took. But you saw the spill-off effect because it has an economic impact also too, and then brings people together. So I'm seeing changes and I love that, and it could only go up from here.
Yeah, you talk about going up, and it brings me to the next question. With so much attention in Guyana for varying reasons, whether it be oil, agriculture, obviously the building boom. But how do you believe sport can fit in its own unique way in that aspect in terms of the facilities? I'm sure is going to be a factor, but then bringing people to Guyana for the opportunity of sport, probably even outside of cricket and GSL or CPL and GSL.
Akeem, sport plays a very pivotal role in the development of any nation. Because you'd look at opportunities that it gives to regular citizens. And I have a burning desire and liking to develop low income communities. I speak on this a lot, I'm telling you, especially to my family and close friends. It provides an opportunity for them to have a conduit or escape route to betterment for their lives. While sport investment, and you can look at a clear example of the Global Super League and what it does internationally, locally, it helps citizens. So the Global Super League provides an amazing opportunity for Guyana to be on a global view and talk about what's happening here. You can talk about what's happening in the health sector, promote health tourism. You can talk about what's happening. You mentioned the boom, what's happening there, and bring investors. So you understand the importance of sport and what it does. It gives an opportunity to showcase what you have on the global sphere, but it also gives an opportunity for persons to develop within the country. It's the single most unifying tool. You look at the Olympics, you look at the World Cup, you see what it does. And then you look at the CPL when Amazon Warriors are playing. But it gives an opportunity not just only for investment, but the upliftment of people.
And just before I hand over the new ball to Fariza, I just want to ask you, you talk about the unifying factor. As a player, I know you played for Jamaica Tallows as well, but I know for sure your best memories would be with the Amazon Warriors. What does it feel like when you're at the national stadium? I get goosebumps talking about it, and you probably get a wicket or something goes very well for you, and that crowd rises up and cheers. What's that feeling like?
It's amazing. It's amazing feeling. It's amazing moments. I can remember I was playing, and I always remember this. I was playing at Providence against St. Kitts, and I bowled 4 overs for about 7 runs.
I remember that game.
And I got, I think it was Evan Lewis at the time, LBW. And when my spell was completed, the crowd was screaming my name and shouting. That was a surreal moment. That was incredible as an athlete and as a sportsman, because you go through so many things as a sportsman. You feel a lot of times. But when you get that moment, and I love the Guyanese crowd for that, because they support you to the end. And one of the things we as, and I say we as warriors, because I still consider myself a warrior, as in an Amazon warrior player. We always say before our games, is warriors fight to the end. And you see that in the crowds. But it's beautiful as an athlete, and that is what we play this game for and live for. Yeah.
You miss it?
Sometimes I do, but I'm still involved at the club level, where I try to help the youngsters coming up, because somebody had to help me also too. But I'm still in service, right? So at one time playing cricket, you're entertaining people. Now you're helping people to better themselves, better their lives.
So it doesn't really end for you.
No, it can't. Right? We're here, every single one of us. We're here to help people.
Yeah. And it's interesting now, because now I want to ask you, what motivated you or prompted you to enter into the field of politics?
So we often sit by and generally and criticize from outside. So I decided to be part of the solution, part of development, part of transformation, because it's tangible. It's right in front of our eyes. We're seeing it. And I know most young people might look at politics and, it might look polarized or unattractive. But do you then just sit by and critique? Or do you get involved so that you can make sure this country develops in the way it should? And also to help the future generation inherit a better Guyana. So that prompted my entry into politics. I want to be a part of the solution.
What advice would you give to other young people pondering the same?
Like I mentioned before, it is for future generations. And you build, and when you build in your family and you look at your son or your daughter, you ask yourself a question. How do you want to see Guyana for them? And that is why you need to get involved.
Jakey, at the point you probably took the step to get involved in politics, I must ask you this, as a Guyanese of African descent. Whenever a Guyanese of African descent, or at least you see it on social media, they get into politics. Let's say they join, for example, the PPP, a party that historically will say it's built of Indians descent. There's a lot of disparaging comments on social media or even in person. We don't need to get into what people say, but we know what is said. For you, how damaging is that? How do you feel about that? And also, I guess, even if it's not directly towards you, Stephen Jacobs, maybe your other colleagues as well would get those distasteful comments about, the reasons they would have joined this specific party.
Akeem, that is a very, very very, very good question. Because it happens to a lot of Afro-Guyanese who decide to join the People's Progressive Party civic. And Akeem, I can tell you something. I lost quite a number of friends and people I consider to be close to me because I joined the People's Progressive Party civic. Sometimes it is overwhelming. But no political party owns my vote or owns me. We have a unique opportunity as young people. And I say young people because of the voting demographics, heading into elections on September 1st, to break the shackles of racism. You see it extensively through the One Guyana initiative of trying to bring every single Guyanese together under one banner, and His Excellency promotes it very well. September 1st is an opportunity to vote for policies, track record, a list with the necessary skill set and so forth to govern this country. And I mentioned that because I want young people to understand. Because we can make that change and move away from that. Move away from race baiting and all of these things. You know, sometimes it aches and hurts me when I see these things on social media. I myself, sometimes I walk on the streets and people call me soup drinker.
Mm.
Even sometimes in simple council meetings, one particular person will heckle some of the most vile things. And just a few days ago, I met this particular person and I said, listen, we are political opponents. We're not enemies. Martin Luther King Jr. said something. He said that we all arrived on different ships, but we're still in the same boat.
Mm.
It's development for Guyana. This is a democratic nation. We should be able to choose or be aligned with any political party that we consider holds our same ideology, what we want to see for Guyana. We should be able to do that. And I can tell you something, Akeem. The moment I decided to join politics and join the People's Progressive Party civic, as a councillor in Georgetown, I felt loved and praised. You know, you walk into Freedom House and it's a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Mr. Jacob. Sometimes, oh, you know my name, okay. But no, it's a beautiful feeling. You feel part of a family, right? I know many might say that many might come with different things, but I can tell you from being inside.
And from your humble beginnings in Pike Street as well, does that drive, I guess, from what you spoke about earlier, your bottom-up approach to how you want to see development happen, whether it be in sport, politics, or society?
That is absolutely correct. And that is how I feel. I would say a lot of times, multiple times, and I go back to my council meetings because I have the opportunity there to speak more on policies for Georgetown. I would say, listen, we have to redefine what the city council is known for. How do you do that? You have to change the culture. How do you do that? You have to first meet with the people. You have to meet with the staff so you understand and take that approach. Don't make decisions from around a horseshoe table.
Yeah, and that brings me to the city council. You are a fresh face on the mayor and city council, Georgetown Mayor and City Council, that is. You've been engaging with the people, the residents, and people at the grassroots level. We know how city council operates. We know the arguments, the back and forth, the stalling of projects. But what are some of the things that you have observed since you've been there, and have you been able to effect change?
So I mentioned before, it's a cultured institution.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only seek real change, in my humble opinion, is that if you have change at the helm. Because myself and other PPC councillors bring a different energy. And this energy is a trickling effect from central government, I can say that. It's contagious. Because you see how His Excellency work and you see how the cabinet ministers, the vice president and so forth work, it's a trickling effect and it's contagious. This is how we know to work. So often you would hear the argument of no funds. Often you will hear the argument of government stifling the institutions. But for me, it's management and will from what I've seen. It's management and will from the persons at the helm. And you would know our mayor, Alfred Mentor. And you know he was a cricketer. I think he played youth cricketer or something like that. And he was a very, enthusiastic supporter of Stephen Jacobs. So sometimes when I mention his name, I say, do I, But he has to understand that when you're managing an institution like that, sometimes you have to be hands-on to get what you want out of the institution and to get what the citizens want. They need better service.
Mhm.
Because persons pay their taxes and they expect services, garbage collection, parapets, and so forth. They expect these things. But what I can say, as a councillor, it gave me an opportunity to mingle and engage people from the grassroots level.
Yeah, but Jakey, something you said earlier about the aspect of the council. You spoke to a fellow council member, explained to them that while you may have different, political views, you're not enemies. You believe in many regards that kind of mindset is I guess systemic to why we can't be able to fuse good ideas and execute the greater vision, which is the better lives for the citizens.
I keep my dream of a day that I can wake up and every single one of us come together for the betterment of this country. Politics should only be about the battle of ideas. The battle of ideas. Because it should never be about personalities. It should never be vile. And this is not just here in Guyana. You see it right across the entire world. But that particular person, and like many others, I try to greet them with a smile. And I mentioned to you before that I wanted to be a part of the solution. And that is how I think that I can be a part of the solution.
Look, a big part of your life, which I know you touched on at the start, is family. I'm near a good all-rounder. But how have you managed in that regards to balance it? Business, also business. My public congratulations to young Stephen on heading off to Queen's College as well.
Yes.
But how do you balance it? Family life, and in present times, so many afternoons, I see you're busy at meetings, and I know it starts from before the afternoons. How hard is it on the body and the mind and balancing family, business, city council, and also your political duties at this point in time?
So Akim, I don't want to say it's not difficult because it really is. Akim, just a few days ago, I didn't see my son or daughter for about 2 days. Why?
Oh, wow.
Because I'm going home late in the evenings and then I'm leaving early. So they're sleeping and then,
Yeah.
So, but before this campaign started, I explained to them, it will be a demanding time for me. And I'm doing this for your future. I took my son to one of the public meetings in Hartfield Street for him to understand what I do and why I need to do it. It's for their future. While it's hard, we have to do it. I mentioned young people before. Here's why we have to do it. We need to play a role. We have a major part to play in developing this nation.
And as we close, Stephen, what would be your message to the electorate? We're just a few days away from September 1st. And how would you encourage people to come out and cast their ballots?
For this is no secret that I want each and every single guy needs to vote for the People's Progressive Party. So, for easy from what I saw a government that is there for the people, that has the necessary skill set, that has the necessary track record, and a president more so, that is charismatic, that will reach the people. People can see, people can feel him. He's passionate about what he does. And you see it daily. While you see tangible development, there are also a whole host of other things. We can talk. I can sit here and outline so much for you in terms of achievements, gold scholarships. We can talk about training nurses. We can talk about so much. Return of Because We Care cash grant. This is a government for over 70. This is a party, matter of fact, that has been in service for over 75 years to this country. They understand what it means to govern. So I mentioned about young people and what it means at this coming elections. It means that we have a unique opportunity to change the voting norm. We're not voting across racial lines or race. We're voting for what you're seeing, what you read, and analyze and formulate for yourself. And there's only one political party that has the true interest and will work day and night and hard for this country, and it's the People's Progressive Party civil government. So come September 1st, you know where to put that X in that box next to the cup.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Akeem, and thank you to our viewers and our listeners. This has been a very edifying discussion. We'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Thanks for watching Starting Point. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for critical updates and exclusive content.